Hello, everybody, and welcome. We Hate It here. My name is Ronnie, and I'm joined by Caleb and Evan, and today we're talking about Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Now, just to clarify, this review is just on the movies. Some of this stuff may be explained in the books, but we are basing these solely on if we had just watched the movies themselves. And we'll try to avoid things that require context until the later movies, when it becomes relevant to what we're talking about. Before we begin today, we'd like to acknowledge Prasoon Bagdi as our first official hater.
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Woo!
Woo!
Now let's get started on the first category.
All right, so the first category we have here is the school. And so what we're going to be doing is basically we're going to be going over a bunch of different things that didn't really make much sense in the movie and like how it kind of caused a little bit of plot holes or something like that. So first off, we have the very beginning here when he was giving the announcements and he was like, if you don't go to the third floor, if you don't want a really terrible death. And it's like, I feel like as a teacher, especially who's somebody who's a headmaster, it's pretty obvious that you don't tell a bunch of kids like, oh, hey, by the way, don't go here. In universe is what we're saying. Everything that we talk about in this video is in universe. Why it doesn't make sense in universe. Obviously, for the plot to advance, something has to happen. But I feel like it was just in such a way that it was too childish. So like when he says it's banned, he could have just had it. So he could have just said like, oh, nobody goes to the third floor. All the doors are locked and they're locked with magic. So El Homor doesn't work.
Like to me, it's kind of forced. IMO. I mean, like just to rant, like you're saying, like even just to say that, just say you'll be killed if you go up there. If you want to live, don't do it. Just say don't go up there. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, like you're the guy who runs the school, bro.
Childlike curiosity is a dangerous thing, especially when you're like, oh, hey, dangerous stuff up here. Don't go there. Everyone's going to be like, oh, I want to go check that out.
Yeah, every kid immediately after he said that, every kid said, yeah, I'm going to go look there now.
Yeah, it's not a smart thing for being the great wizard he is, you know.
And we'll get more onto what we think about Dumbledore later in the video.
Okay, so another problem I have with the school and why it's flawed the way it is that Professor McGonagall literally just be out here breaking rules, you know, with one even making it so this first year would be would be playing Quidditch and would also be given a broom.
Which is against the rules, yeah.
Which is against the rules, and she bought, and it's not even like it's like a slightly better broom. It's supposed to be at the time the best one out.
And not only that, it's after he was already breaking rules.
Exactly, and he just joined. Why are we giving the Potter guy more?
Right,
giving him more to work with here.
It's like giving like a 13-year-old the keys to like a Ferrari and being like, all right, yeah, go ahead, kid. Like
barely any training. There was like a 2-minute long training segment.
Right.
And we just kind of lumped this one in here with this. It's the part where Harry's broom is being jinxed or whatever. This has a little bit of context, but it's in the same movie, so I think it's okay. It's when he's saying the counter curse, and obviously it was made so that they would suspect Snape more for being the bad guy or whatever. But why would Snape even do that? Like maybe if he was in a different box entirely, it would make sense. But he's literally directly in front of the person who is doing the jinx. Like he knows that it's happening. That's why he's doing the counter jinx. So why wouldn't he just do like what Hermione's doing right now, which is distracting him to block his eye contact? He has to know that that's a way to do it. He could literally just like jump up or do something to block eye contact. But no, he had to do the most suspicious thing possible that was barely even working.
Like you're saying, just interrupt them. It's an easy spell to break.
He could have just turned around and simply started a conversation. It didn't even have to be so extreme. That's all it would have took.
Literally just distract the man.
And not only that, but even after he gets distracted, why couldn't he just continue doing it again?
Yeah, like just go back to it. Like just go back to doing the curse. I mean, like what's stopping him from just doing it? And I mean, why?
All right, so the next problem that I have with the school is why would they ban entry to the Forbidden Forest, which is in the name, it's forbidden, right? So you should be banned from it. And then Harry has to go to detention, so they say, oh, hey, detention, Forbidden Forest, you're going, guys. Like, why? Why would they send the students to the Forbidden Forest for detention after just saying the students are not to go there? It makes zero sense.
And it seemed like it was for a minor infraction as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, and the whole reason for it was that they just, were at a bed, and they're supposed to be asleep.
Right.
and they said, I'm gonna give you like probably one of the worst punishments available, where you could go and die, literally get murdered.
And not only that, but they know, like, the whole premise of this detention is that, oh, there's unicorns being murdered bored. Let's go send a bunch of children after it.
Yeah.
Right. Some first years
Cla-
even.
Classic having the kids go take care of the problem that you amazing wizards probably should be going to handle.
Yeah, and like they literally describe, like the centaur describes how only the most evil people will kill a unicorn, and it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Let's go send some children after it. That'll solve the issue.
And the one, let's send the one child that like the most evil thing of all is after. Let's make sure we send him to the Forbidden Forest to get him.
Yeah, they know Voldemort's after. They know Voldemort's like somewhere around because they hid the stone and everything. So they know it's probably Voldemort.
And Potter's the dude. He's literally the guy.
He's that guy.
Yeah, and this kind of leads into what we're going to say at the end about certain things. This all culminates to a final point that we'll make at the end.
Yeah, and then continuing on to our points, these teachers kind of just not being the greatest. They in a sense are pretty much just useless. I mean, not even good at their main job, which is teaching. I mean, like even in this scene right here where Neville already starts flying and he has no control over it. Well, instead of her doing anything about it, literally anything, she just ducks and dodges everything. And just
she yells at him the whole time.
Yeah, yells at him to get down. He can't. He doesn't know what he's doing. Look at him.
And we know there are things in the Potter universe that could have helped.
I mean, there's even the part where he gets like caught up on the statue and starts falling. She could have I don't know, stopped him from hitting the ground.
Yeah, it was just this was just one example of the teachers in this movie being pretty useless. It is somewhat understandable in a sense because they're like, it's the first movie and they're kind of just introducing characters. But even then, there are times where, like I said before, they know that Voldemort's going after the stone. That's another thing. Like, that's a whole other ethical problem of bringing a stone that an evil psychopathic murderer is trying to find into a school full of children. But we'll get into that later. Why are they just ignoring these kids that are finding these possible, like, if these kids could find out about the Philosopher's Stone and they know about a bunch of this stuff, you'd think you'd might little bit listen to them about a possible threat to it. I don't know.
I just hate how they're so they're so casual. They're so casual about it. Like anytime there's something that's very serious, something that should be taken very seriously, it could be like a world-ending or life-threatening situation, and the teachers are just like, yeah, it'll probably be fine.
I mean, Quidditch is a normal game for them, so.
I mean, I guess, but like it's still a pretty dangerous game.
Exactly, that's my point. That was what I was meant. It's like that's why they're chill in dangerous situations, because it's normal to see kids beating each other senseless with flying balls.
I mean, I guess at some point you would be desensitized. They just be like, yeah. Okay.
These wizards kind of just simply don't have common sense.
And now jumping forward towards the end of the movie here, the whole, like, we've already mentioned a couple times where they reward rule breaking basically, but this part is probably the most drastic example of that, where not only is it showing rule breaking, but it's also showing a lot of favoritism. But even worse than that, even worse than just rewarding enough points to make this one people that were in last to be first, they did it after they announced the winner originally. So like, first of all, what high school is going to be like, oh, hey, these students over here won overall, woo, and then goes, actually, time out. No, you didn't. These guys did.
Psych.
And for breaking the rules, too.
Yeah, I mean, you could see it because, like you said, like the Slytherins, they won. Okay, like right at the beginning, they just said, "Oh, okay, you guys win," and like you're saying, like then you just kind of go, "Oh, hey, actually though, I got some crazy last minute points to give out," which doesn't make any sense because the voting process, like the point process, would already been done. They won. Like you can't just throw in their random points at the end. And like you said, the favoritism. I mean, like I'm just saying, the Gryffindor has broken a couple rules at this point. That's all I'm saying.
It just seems like it's Dumbledore kind of being a dick, honestly, for lack of a better word, like to the Slytherin kids, because like they really don't do anything this movie, like so it's just him being a jerk for absolutely zero reason.
Actually, you're right. I don't really think they do anything in this movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Other than obviously Draco, but he's in count.
Yeah, he's
one guy.
Yeah. And there's the other thing is that honestly, why not just reward these points before the ceremony? Like that would solve this whole thing.
It wasn't Gryffindor like last.
They were last.
Yeah,
and somehow they just shoot up the winning.
Yeah, they honestly, this entire scene would make so much more sense if he just awarded the points before the closing ceremony.
I'd give it like a little bit more of a pass at that point.
So since this is a movie, instead of doing a category conclusion, the different ones that we do at the end, we're just going to do a final conclusion at the end of the entire thing involving, all the categories we talk about.
All right, so that's all we got to say about the school. Let's move on to the next category.
All right, so next category is Harry. And my first question is, why does Daniel Radcliffe only blink with one eye? It's like he's it's like a weird wink. I don't like it. Why does he do that so much?
It's honestly, it's a reoccurring thing. This isn't just something, as you can see, it's not something that just happens every once in a while. It happens almost in every single scene in the entire movie.
It's through the whole movie, and like you said, it's distracting. I ain't gonna lie. Like I look at it, and like you can't miss it. Like you just look at it and you go, something's not right there.
It kind of gives me Horizon Zero Dawn vibes.
Yeah, with the NPCs.
Where it's like they couldn't fully blink, so they're just kind of partially blinking. I'm sure it's some sort of acting thing where, because he was a child actor and he was new, he didn't really know how to act and all, or he was still new to acting, and it was just some sort of thing like that. But it was kind of funny that it was kept in the movie this many times.
Right.
Okay, so like another problem I have with Harry is that he does no magic actually through this entire movie. He actually, he gets up, he goes to magic school. We're not going to count him making the glasses appear or anything or riding a broom. That doesn't count, because that's not him doing magic. That's just, it randomly happening, him discovering shit, whatever. But like, yeah, he does not actually do any magic here.
Yeah, he really, other than, I did forget about that little disappearing accidental magic thing, but that wasn't him using a wand and performing a spell. The entire movie, he doesn't use one spell. In the creation of this video, and when we were thinking of things to talk about for this video, we actually originally were like, he probably only did like 2, and then we looked it up and he actually does 0 actual spells in this entire movie.
Yeah, I mean, we tried giving him the benefit of the doubt and trying to think, like you said, and we thought maybe he did 1 or 2. He did something.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, we're dumb. He did nothing.
I was thinking, like, with the troll, I was like, oh, but they took down the troll. He had to have done some magic there. And then it's like, no, that's right, Ron did that. So we see Ron and Hermione do magic. We just don't actually see Harry, MC Harry, do any magic the entire time.
Actually, everybody but Harry.
Really, everybody but.
Okay, so that's all we have for anything about Harry. So on to the next category.
All right, and for our final category, we're just going to be going over the final confrontation, basically, and the final little chats at the end. And first off here was basically just the whole intro part. There's the big thing with the music thing wasn't that big of a deal. It was just kind of, the dog is one of the coolest traps that happens, first of all. But this next trap part, so this part right here where they're in the devil's snare, I don't really understand this trap like at all, because the entirety of the scene is basically debunking this trap as a trap. Because Hermione learned how to get away from the devil's snare, well, kind of, through a first-year botany class or herbology class or whatever the heck it's called. And her thing was, if you struggle more, it will kill you faster. So that implies that it would kill you sooner if you just sat still. But apparently that doesn't even kill you. They just drop through safe and sound. So,
does it kill you at all?
No.
That's what it seems like. It doesn't. I don't think it does.
I say, at least for what they're showing us here, like literally, like you're saying, like it just lets them go.
Yeah, if you move, it just takes longer. It doesn't kill you. It just really delays your day.
Obviously, there is the part where Hermione does the sunlight thing to free Ron. But if he'd been I guess maybe he was being suffocated. Eventually, if he got knocked out, wouldn't it just let him go anyway?
Right, if he stopped moving, right.
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Pretty dumb.
Okay, so the next thing is, why is there dust on this broom? Like, if somebody had already been through here and gone past it, why would there be dust on it? It doesn't really make, it's just a small detail that kind of didn't pan out.
And not only that, but as we're about to see right here, Ron in this part here tries Alohomora on that door and it doesn't work. So why wasn't the 3rd floor door trapped like that? Like, why not just block it entirely?
Block it with magic, the whole thing.
And that is also feeds into our final statement on this part with Dumbledore again, but we'll get into that later.
Okay, and on to our final trap, or whatever you want to call it, I guess. A puzzle, whatever. Why is it chess exactly? I don't really know about that one being a good mechanism to keep people out from getting a stone, like why is it a chessboard with chess pieces, and like why are there exactly enough spaces for these 3? Why does this make any sense? What's happening here? Why does that knight not have a knight on it? Why is it just an empty horse?
And is Ron just freakishly good at chess? Because like it seems like he's good. He plays it a lot. You see him play it, but is he so good that like he beats this? This can't be that hard of a game of a chess game. Yeah,
and like for the 3 space thing, was when Voldemort / Quirrell came in here, was there just 1 space? Did he play it from the sidelines? Like what is the continuity here? Yeah, I get a lot of this sounds like we're nitpicking certain things, but what we mean is in universe, it doesn't make any sense. If you're looking at this from a logical context, which you should be because it is a movie that you're watching that you're trying to enjoy, these things just don't make sense. Like, I get it. Maybe it was like a for children book or something, but I thought it was for young adults. And even like a 16-year-old, would they think this is normal? I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't really get. And like, why is he even on the chess piece? Why is he even on it? Do we need that to activate it?
Couldn't he have jumped off when he gets attacked?
that's
Like,
what
there's
I'm
so
saying,
many
just-
things that could happen here.
I don't understand any of this trap. It makes no sense. And then like, why is there fire? Where'd the fire come from in this place? Why is it all over the place?
Right.
We're knocking statues off.
And again, all of this will lead into our conclusion.
Yeah, we're just knocking off statues and stuff. It's dumb.
And now for the final part of this little section here, why does this whole scene, like, why does it take place the way it does? Like, first of all, after this scene, you see Dumbledore talking to Harry in the hospital, and he's like, oh yes, one of my more genius applications of magic where I made it so only the person who wants to find the stone but not use it could get it. Why is it that? This is where all of our statements have been leading up to, where we're like, if any of this was truly to keep Voldemort out, it would not be like this. And that in that case, the only other possible option is that Dumbledore is testing Harry, which is kind of weird / kind of malicious even. And if that's the case, like, because what he could have done is he could have just spelled the thing to only give him the stone. Like, why didn't he do that if he was really trying to keep it away from people?
Yeah, it doesn't really make much sense. Okay, and this is another part I was kind of confused on. So this whole thing happens where Harry starts touching, Quirrell, like so, and he starts getting burned, and like it's all supposed to be like from the protection of his mother.
And he couldn't bear to touch him because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, why can Quirrell? Why was he able to choke him?
It's a little bit of continuity that doesn't make much sense.
Wouldn't he have gotten burned from just touching Harry? Also, Harry just straight up murdered a guy. So
Yeah, there is-
11-year-old.
Straight up killed this man.
He's 11, but yeah.
Yeah, 11. Sorry, it's a lot for an 11-year-old, and he doesn't even.
Well, it doesn't have much of a reaction.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that phased about it. If I'm being honest.
So then all of this, everything we've really said, really leads back to what I was just saying earlier. If any of this was really meant to stop Voldemort, it would not be in the little bit of the way that it was. And like with Dumbledore, there are two options that I see that are possible. One is he's really, really dumb, which makes no sense. Like, there's no way that this genius wizard guy who's revered by the entire wizarding world is that dumb.
Hitman's in the name.
Yeah. So the only other possible explanation is that he has some sort of weird reasoning to want to test Harry. I guess it might be like, obviously this is breaking our rule a little bit about the context, but we know I guess I won't say it. I guess we'll leave that for the later context, but just based on this of the constraints of this movie, just watching this movie, it doesn't make any sense that Dumbledore made any of the decisions that he made. It doesn't make any sense for all of these traps to be the way they are unless they were made for first years to get through.
Right, like Dumbledore like plotted it out so all of this happened instead of just simply, making it easy and not putting Harry's life in danger as well as his peers.
And his entire school.
Yeah,
He's
and
using these 11-year-olds, using these kids to do this.
There's no real reasoning here that I could see that makes any sense unless it's entirely from a writing standpoint in the sense of, oh, we need conflict, so we're going to make imaginary conflict.
All right, so that's all we have to say about this movie, and we're going to move on to our concluding statements.
So the big thing is, it wasn't like terrible. There was a lot of plot holes and weird decisions in the movie, and again, this is all from a purely movie universe standpoint. So if the books answered some of these questions or explained them more, or if because it was written for kids or something, it makes more sense that way. We're not looking at any of that. We're looking at purely what makes sense in universe.
Yeah, other than even like, despite all the, a couple problems that we found and everything, it was just, I don't know if it's just me, kind of boring. Like, I get it. It's introducing all the characters and, it's the beginning. I get it. But, like, literally nothing happens pretty much until the very end.
Yeah, just a bunch of school scenes.
Unfortunately.
Even for being a first movie, like you said, it's going to be boring because it's the first movie to a series that has to introduce everything. But even with that being said, I feel like they could have done it better in a more entertaining way, in a way that kept my attention a little more, because it did get boring at times.
And I do want to say, before we do give our final score on this game, I actually really do like the Harry Potter universe. I'm a huge fan of the aesthetic. I love the old-timey style with magic involved and all that stuff. I just wish they had involved more of the magic or involved more of the world and stuff like that. They just don't do it very much, and it kind of makes it feel more like a high school drama than an actual magic movie.
They don't really deal with the magic that much. It's just a lot of funny little problems.
it kind of just feels like the magic's in the background, really.
Yeah, it's just a background tool. All right, so now we're going to give our final score with our hate level, where 1 is being the best movie and 10 being the worst. And our general consensus is we're going to give this movie a 6 out of 10.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked it, or if you didn't like it, or disagreed, or agree with the opinions, just leave a comment, and we'll see if we can get back to you. If it's just a hater comment, we probably won't really respond. But if you just want to discuss, if you just want to talk about our criticisms or give us criticisms, go ahead. We like the constructive criticism.
Don't forget to subscribe.
And check us out on TikTok.
And come check our Twitch out.
And we'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.